We have been talking about the mitzvah of rebuke, rebuking your fellow man. And we've learned that it comes about, the obligation for this comes about in two situations. One is that if he has offended you and insulted you, and you have feelings of hatred, and you're not permitted to hate a fellow Jew in your heart. Thus the Torah says you're obligated to rebuke the person. That means to confront him, hopefully in a very intelligent way, sensitive way, and point out to him what he's done so that he will be able to apologize for it. And once that's done, you are obligated to forgive him. The second instance is seemingly completely different and doesn't, at first glance, does not seem to have anything in common with the first. The second instance is where it's nothing personal. But when you encounter a fellow Jew who's violating the Torah, or who, so to speak, has gone off the path, is going in a bad way, spiritually, so then you're obligated to speak to him. That, of course, has to be done very carefully, but assuming you have some way, some influence with him, to speak to him and to try and get him to correct his ways. And you tell him that you're doing this because you're really concerned about his spiritual welfare. Now, both of these instances fall under the heading of the mitzvah of rebuke. But yet they seem to be two completely separate things. One is where it's personal and you're trying to get rid of any feelings of personal hatred. The other one is where it's objective. You don't hate the person. You just realize that he's living in a bad way and you want to correct him. So why are these subsumed under one heading? One would think that they should be two separate mitzvahs. One mitzvah of rebuke on the personal level and one mitzvah on the objective level. Yet the Torah saw fit to put both of these, subsume, combine both under one mitzvah. And I'd like to suggest a possible reason. Even though they seem to be two disparate things, two separate things, but really it's one idea. Because the ultimate objective of rebuke is a tool that sometimes needs to be used. The ultimate objective is to remove the barrier that's been established between you and reestablish the feelings of brotherhood that needs to exist, that ought to exist between two Jews. So the barriers of brotherhood can be broken down. Indeed, the word rebuke you shall amitecha. He's a member of your people. The barriers of unity can be broken down purely by personal emotional feelings. That happens. Sometimes somebody insults us or offends us, or we think he's insulted us. You can't bear the hatred in your heart because you're creating a breach. It's no longer one unit, one family. The other way in which the unity can be broken down is when the person ceases to live according to the Torah. When we are all sharing the values, the ideals of the Torah, then that is the greatest force of unity. So therefore, when a fellow Jew goes off the path, first of all, you're concerned about his welfare, but you realize that that's going to create a breach. It's going to break down the Jewish people. The Jewish people is united because we're all struggling for the same ideals, the same spiritual goals. So therefore, the Torah subsumed it. It's all one mitzvah, because the ultimate objective of any rebuke, whether it be because of a personal issue or because of an objective issue, is to remove barriers that separate, that divide us, and to reestablish the unity and the love that ought to exist between all Jews.